what was the IED that you stepped on? Was it victim initiated then? I assume it's a pressure plate IED?
It was a pressure plate IED. It was actually, it was over 25 pounds,
Holy shit,
broken,
dude.
broken up into 3 cells. And so the first cell went off, and that's what blew my leg. Like I was looking down at my leg after the dust cleared, and my boot was like at a 90-degree angle to my leg, and I could see my tib and my fib sticking out of my pants. But that first cell that went off, it disrupted the explosive chain for the other 2 cells. So it actually low ordered the other 2 cells, and they didn't go off. It just blew HME everywhere.
Dude, you're so lucky, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, because I mean, 25 pounds, and there's not enough to put in a plastic Ziploc bag. But I ate about 7 pounds of it, and yeah, it sucks. 7 pounds is a lot.
Yeah.
I've had people make the remark of, "Oh, well, that's not that bad." I was like, "Have you handled a block of M112 C4? That's 1.25 pounds. That will ruin your entire upper or lower body."
Oh, 100%.
So 7 pounds of HME, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah. For people that may not know, for reference, one, let's put it out there that the HME, the homemade explosives, varies. There were some people that are good at making it, and 5 pounds can be way more effective than 5 pounds from a guy that sucked at making IEDs.
5 pounds could
blow
every part of you off.
I've watched a 100-pound IED flip a 6x Cougar, which is like a 60,000-pound vehicle or something crazy like that, over, up on its end. So, that's not, it's that little bit of explosive can do a lot. So that's just, man, you're so lucky that the other ones didn't detonate.
Yeah, and I'm also lucky that the bomb maker, so there's different RE factors to explosives. And the bomb maker that did mine, it was very clean. And he was an experienced bomb maker. And so you get a lot of damage, tissue damage, when the RE factor is equivalent to like TNT, dynamite, stuff like that, because that's more of a pushing explosive.
Can you explain what the RE factor is real quick? I don't want to interrupt you, but I don't know what that means.
What it is you have different RE factors. Like C4's RE factor is different than dynamite or TNT. So C4 is more of a cutter, whereas in dynamite and TNT, it's more of a pushing charge. So you'll get bomb makers out there that maybe aren't that good, or they haven't fine-tuned their HME mix. And so now you're dealing with something like dynamite or TNT. Well, you step on an IED that has the equivalence of that. And not only is it blowing your legs off, but it's mangling everything because it's a pusher. It's not a cutter. And with C4, it's more of a cutting charge. So the IED I stepped on was very clean. And so it shot up through the bottom of my foot. The blast wave blew my foot in half pretty cleanly, and it exited out at my calf. And there wasn't really a lot of tissue damage. The tissue damage came from my fibula, blowing out the side of my leg. But for the most part, because my doctor told me, he's like, I can fix any bone. Why we amputate is for tissue damage. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And so that's the reason, the reason why, like, I was able to step on an IED of that much weight, because 7 pounds is a lot. But I only had the damage that I did because, I essentially stepped on a charge that was pretty clean. And if you were going to step on an IED, I mean, mine was a pretty good one to step on.
If you got to do it, might as well hit that one. So obviously, broken tibia, fibula, you're not staying in country. The Medevac process begins there. Can you kind of walk us through that for people that don't, most guys don't experience the Medevac process? That's got to be a pretty lonely experience, because now you're shockingly away from everything you've known, all of your friends, all of your stuff that you've been doing, and now you're just fucked up in a bed. So what was that like for you?
So when I got Medevaced out, I was awake for the whole thing, which was absolutely horrible. And I was trying, I found out I was allergic to morphine. That's hell of a time to find that out.
God damn it.
and I chewed up my fentanyl lollipop instead of putting it under your tongue like you're supposed to. So yeah, I had a lot of pain going on, and because I had the allergic reaction, they didn't want to give me any more pain, or they didn't want to give me any more meds because they didn't know what was really, how I'd react to them. And so it's just like, hey, suck it up. We got to get you on a medevac, and we got to get you out of here. So they had to move me over 500 meters, if not more, maybe a click, because the helicopters couldn't land because of the high ground had RPGs. They were taking dish of fire and all kinds of other stuff. And so they moved me a click back. And then, yeah, it was basically when I got loaded up onto the helicopter, our Delta, he jumped on board with me. But I watched my team, disappear as I was leaving. And I just instantly felt like I let everybody down.
Oh, that's horrible, man.
I fucked up. I let everybody down, and now they're out there without me. And so you start to get that, that guilty feeling that you let everybody down, and you're to blame for it. And then it went from, as I was getting bounced around Afghanistan to stabilize me, I went from Tarin Kowt to Kandahar to Bagram. And it took them probably 4 days to stabilize me just to get me to Germany for blood loss and infection and stuff like that. But as I'm getting bounced around Afghanistan, 2010, the hospitals were full. There were so many dudes. And a helicopter would land, they would pull, 2 or 3 body bags off and a couple wounded guys. And you're just like, wow, this is war. And so the reality of everything, really hit me, because as I'm, again, moving around Afghanistan, getting prepped to go to Longstool, you're just seeing the destructive power of war in every single bed around you, and you're hearing it, and the moans and the cries and stuff like that. And then, you see the panic on the doctors' faces as they're trying to revive somebody or something like that. And you're getting this front view from, your little curtained off section of whatever role you're in. And it really hit me pretty hard at that point. I was just like, wow, this is, it's the reality of war. It's the crazy part of war. And in 2010, it was all around you. There wasn't an hour that was going by where a dust off wasn't landed to take casualties or body bags off, and so I finally, I got stabilized. I had a couple blood transfusions. Then I got stabilized and I was sent to Longstool. And again, 2010, just everybody was wounded. It is just the year that, I guess it was the year to get wounded in Afghanistan. And so I was there for a little bit before I was sent to the States, and eventually Brooks Army Medical Center in San Antonio.
Was that, I feel like being in a battlefield hospital where the freshest of the injuries are occurring just feels like a nightmarish kind of situation.
Yeah. I was snowed a lot of the time, just on a lot of pain meds. And, but I'll never forget, this Canadian soldier got brought in and he was shot up super bad. And, his commander was coming in to talk to him because he wasn't going to survive.
Oh, damn, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. Talking to the guy, like, you're going to be okay. But he's going to die. And yeah, that was that right there. I think about that all the time, but it's war. It's the reality of war. And again, it's not just an American thing. This was a Canadian soldier, that, he passed away there. And so, yeah, it's it's different. It definitely is. And it's a reality that a lot of people will never experience. But I'm glad I did, because I've learned so many lessons from that can help other people, if that makes sense.
No, 100%, man. I mean, big shout out to the medical people. You know,
Yeah, they're heroes.
that's
And
every day.
And every time a new guy would come in, they would have to wipe the slate clean if they just lost the guy on a table, 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're trying, they're looking at this guy that lost 3 limbs, and they know his life will never be the same. His life has changed forever because of war. And, oh, all right, dust off's coming back in. We got another guy. I got to completely wipe the slate clean. I got to clear my head, and I got to get ready for this next casualty coming in. Yeah,
that's so insane, man.
That is heroism on a level that, I mean, I can't even imagine it. The mental strain and you don't even got to be in war for that. Look at what our first responders do in America all the time.
That's true. That's true, man. Our ambulance drivers in some cities are doing some of the same crazy shit.
They're heroes.
It's crazy.
It's a mental minefield. Well, I guess no pun intended, but it's,
it's when you see it's just human destroying each other, and the results of that, it's just sad. I remember in 2013, we just got to Leatherneck. We're waiting to fly into Sangin. And me and my corpsman went over to the squadrons to get updated map data and just kind of introduce ourselves to the Cobra guys. And then we went over to the Dust Off guys so my corpsman could talk to them and stuff. And I remember as we were walking over there, we're walking by the Bastion Medical Center, and a Chinook landed and offloaded 6 people. And I'm just like, fuck, man. I mean, all of them were on gurneys. These weren't walking wounded. These were fucked up people. And someone standing there was like, yeah, there was a V-bid that went off. They're like, we got a call that a V-bid went off, so we got this coming in. And I'm just like, this is day one, man. This is like, I'm watching that, and I'm like, yeah, man, we're about to go into it,
Yep.
Man, it really fucks your mind up. I mean, I guess it doesn't really fuck your mind up, but it like, I don't know, for me, it set my mind on to like, all right, man, it's about to for real get real, because Leatherneck is Leatherneck. It's a big ass base. There's restaurants and weird shit. But when you get out to the FOBs and the cops and out in the country, then it's for real.
And that's what's crazy is throughout the thousands of years, men have been flocking to war to get that experience, that real experience, because every man, well, I don't know about every man now, but most men have that question, what will I do when someone's trying to kill me? How will I react? And people have been guys have been going to war for, I don't know about 1,000, but hundreds of years to answer that question. What will I do when someone's trying to kill me? And the realities of war, it's like these kids that are just flooding over to Ukraine right now because they want the sexy Hollywood idea of war. And then when the reality comes that it's an artillery and a rocket, barrage, and you may never see the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You probably won't. It's a lot like Afghanistan, then all of a sudden war's not sexy anymore, and blood and guts and mangled bodies, and just lines of body bags. That's not what Hollywood said. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home. And again, that's, even in Ukraine, that's what's going on right now with a lot of these guys that are going over there, is they want to be able to answer that question. What would I do when someone's trying to kill me? Unfortunately, it's a hard question to answer with artillery, because you're either going to eat it or you're not. There's nothing you're going to do about it.